just pick back up in the bathhouse. There's steam, there's frost, there's herbs, and there is a single pool that seems to just be plain and simple water. In the very center of the room, you see a single tree that grasps towards the top of the bathhouse, and surrounding it are tables that seem to hold different fruits and possible public drinks, and a lot of this is like basically imagine a public buffet that's been picked. It hasn't been refreshed of late. You imagine it probably gets refreshed every day, and there's not a whole lot left here midday.
Is there any payment? It's a free.
When you walk in, before you see this chamber before you, but on either side of the door is what looks to be these clamshells, these large clamshells, and inside are donations. You see that Ozan just slips a few gold coins into his into the shell, and then you see an older man who looks like he's got some paint on him that needs to be washed off. You've seen these sort of dye works gentlemen around before when you went to the last Temple of Soon, and he just pops a couple of like 2 or 3 copper pieces in. Another man who looks probably to be maybe a fish merchant so that you can get the smell drops a couple silver. No one's there to make them, but they are.
I imagine the way you describe it. I imagine this is like a bathhouse.
What'd you say?
Like a middle class bathhouse.
You imagine this is a public bath. This is the one for everyone. Like getting into the Temple of Soon is something special for sure. Those tokens that you got were pretty nice. Like you imagine, like the people who were going in and out of there seem to probably be either really lucky, like they saved up the money for it and they were really pumped to do it, like those dye works gentlemen you saw the last time you went there. Like they were fucking pumped about going to Temple of Soon. That was like going to fucking Disney World for them. They were really excited. But most of them are like high class. So yeah, this is the public bathhouse for everyone. But you see, there are noble people here as well. It doesn't seem like they are like class. There's a difference of class in Port Nyanzaru, but much unlike Baldur's Gate, everybody seems pretty happy. Like the low class is not so low that they, at least within the city, not so low that they are miserable. Most people here seem fairly jovial. Something else you notice around those shelves, there seem to be wards kind of set around them in Chulton. You're not sure what they are, but they're all sort of written, and they look to be kind of written angrily around them, like little like talismans and stuff, like kind of just surrounding the sides. Not sure what that's about. Ozan probably wouldn't explain. But yeah, you guys enter into the bathhouse, and he just kind of, Ozan, which I'm going to say is this guy, and we're gonna mark him blue. Ozan will just kind of lead over to the ice pool slowly. You guys are allowed to do what you wish, but he's essentially pointing out, and it's easy enough to see where your guide is. Now, you guys can follow to speak to this guide, or you could try to do something else in the bathhouse. Up to you. Seems like most are following.
Yep.
I dip my claw.
Holy shit! Freezing. Probably this pool's got to be at least like fucking 30 below or something. It's way cold. Whatever is just at the brink of being like, it's not super dangerous, but like the thing about it is, it's like you get your foot close and you're like, oh, it's so cool compared to the heat. And you're like, I can't. Oh, it's cold.
Okay.
God, I'm caught between heat and cool.
I imagine Ryok's been flying a lot today, and it's been super hot. Ryok will make their way down the steps.
It is as cold as if you filled your ice tub with all of the ice in your refrigerator right now.
It's like a bird splashing. Like literally, you go from him, Ryok, majestically walking down, and then acting like a bird.
as you walk in and you begin splashing, Ozan's kind of like right behind you, slowly dipping a toe in, going ever so gracefully. He's a little effeminate in the way he moves and the way he does things. And as you begin splashing, this guy over here jumps out of the water immediately, like fucking cold, and you can see him shaking, but he just says, "Hey, no splashing." Common. He points at you, and he like points at a sign. And yeah, he just kind of like gets back in the water.
Moore's going straight in too.
Yeah,
just
Ozan
wading in.
and starts wading towards Musharib, but kind of like goes to the side. And you hear this individual start to speak in Dwarvish. He's here, and he goes back and forth a little bit with Ozan, and Ozan kind of just nods, and he turns over. So the voice that you hear, even in Dwarvish, sounds quite raspy, and you can see like a scar, a horrible scar going across Musharib's neck. What happened to Ryak? He turned into 2-bit Ryak.
2-bit.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
Oh yeah. Who's got this on here?
I just tapped my picture.
I was like, click, nope. Ryak couldn't load. All right, so Ryak is in the water. You make your way in. You feel it. It's freezing cold, but it feels pretty good. War is. I want to get what everyone's doing. War.
Yeah.
War
is a lizard. War is a lizard.
He's wading in, and then he kind of like. It's just kind of sinking a little bit.
You go numb quick.
Yeah.
Anyone who gets in the water goes numb 60 seconds in, and you can't really feel it, and it becomes kind of like oh man, I can't feel any of my body. This is kind of great, you know. It feels good. Valoria / Alexandria.
Well, she doesn't have the constitution to keep up with people doing that, so she's going to play this a little bit smarter. And as she's stepping into the pool, she'll have a hand behind her back to make a delicate little hand sign and whisper under her breath and cast a prestidigitation spell to warm 1 cubic foot of water around her.
Okay, I love that because you step in and like you find that you can't really you can't go past your like knees, and you're just kind of like you're just like trying to keep yourself warm. As warm as possible, and I think this guy passes you as he comes out, and he looks back to you.
Well, I'm gonna have the water at like a nice warm, almost as if I was in one of the other pools.
Yeah, he kind of like looks to you and just kind of goes. So walks out of the water, like heads towards the sea bath as soon as possible. Yeah, he just seems like. So yeah, you're warming a cubic feet of water. Alexandria, what are you doing?
That would hurt so bad going from ice.
Syria is getting into the corner of the other pool and just talking over the pathway.
Oh, you're staying over here? In this pool? Okay, yeah, the heated pool. So enough so that you can hear. Yeah, you dip in, and this is, I mean, it's hot outside in Chult, but this is like a steam that's just like cleansing. You're just like, ooh, it's, oh, God, yes. And so, yeah, this individual has some Dwarvish speak back and forth with Ozan, and he kind of like, he's got his arms up still, and he looks over around you, and he looks almost kind of like disappointed looking at all of you. And he just goes, so you need a guy, yeah?
Yes.
No, Ozan. I need you to die.
No, not Ozan.
Not Ozan.
Oh, whoops. What's his face?
Musharib.
I am Musharib. You are looking to go to Chult. Where are you going?
We are not sure.
Says, don't know where you're going. And he says, you don't know where you're going. Why have you come to me? First, you should find out where the hell you want to go, and then you should find a guide.
We're looking for something, so we need to venture out and find it.
There we go. Looking for something. So you are going somewhere. And he says, that I can deal with. And he says, listen, I've been at this game for a long time, and I'm not going to kid you. You can die out there. Anyone can die out there. I'm not responsible for your life. You got that? And he says, I don't fuck around with this shit. if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it in a calculated way. We're gonna do it in a way that won't get you fucked. He says, so that's my baseline. If you're just willing to run out there and look for something gung-ho, I'm not into that. And he says, and also, you don't seem to keep the company of dwarves with your people. I don't know how that makes you look bad to me. See, I love my people a lot, and none of you are my people. So it's hard for me as a guide to care for your lives if I don't really care about you starting off. So I'll guide you, I will, but no bullshit. I'm not gonna give you any bullshit. Look at me. And he looks around and he says, you wanna know the last time I went out into the fucking jungle? Last year, I went out into the jungle, okay? I don't make a habit out of this stuff. And he says, it's dangerous. It's plain and simple. I'm fucking good at it. I'm really good at it. But I just want you to know what you're buying into. And then he says, I'm not gonna charge you that 30-day bullshit. It's 5 gold per day if you want me to be your guide, because I plan on keeping you alive best I can if I am your guide. But if you had a few more dwarves, like I said, I'd be more inclined. I might even give you a discount, but obviously you don't. And he looks and he says, what the hell are you looking for?
Ryaka at that, like listening intently and then asking, having him bring that up, kind of rubs his hands together, and I want to say, has this? So you have that been out in over a year, Dad.
He says, the jungle. It used to be my home. I used to be there all the time. I used to live among the trees. I used to play with the monkeys. I loved the jungle. He says, it's why I'm such a damn good guy. He says, but no, I have not been out in a year. Not since my home was destroyed. Or taken from me, more than that. My people slaughtered. He says, now this place, this wretched place is my home. How many dwarves have you seen since you've been here? Probably one of the only ones.
Very few.
I can see it on your faces. We don't look like the dwarves where you're from. I'm an albino dwarf. And if you ever see a dwarf around Chult, this is what they're gonna look like, so you best get used to this face. What's War say?
He had said no, we hadn't seen many dwarves. Was pretty much the gist of it.
This is, yeah, that's because most of us lost our homes. The jungle's dangerous. It's what it does to you. It takes, and it takes, and it takes, and it doesn't give back. Ever. I'm not gonna kid you people. You're going out there, you're risking your lives.
How did you build your home?
And he says, it's a sad story, I guess, but one I've told enough times that I've shed enough tears. He says, my home is far to the south, stolen by fucking elemental creatures, fire newts, these things that spawn out of volcanoes. When one from the sears, from the peaks of flame, when one of the peaks of flame volcanoes erupted, they came in hordes. They came and they stormed our forge. They slaughtered whoever they found. I'm one of the only survivors. Few. I know of a guy over in. He left long ago. I think he's from Neverwinter. I haven't seen him. As they go on, they try to make circuses out of themselves because they're albino. I stay here. I stay in Chult because I have respect for myself, and I stay because someday I hope to reclaim my home. But I haven't gone out. I haven't gone out there. Since I haven't wanted to risk it.
It's
says,
like-
but I'm surprised Ozan even brought you to me. So this should be the last one on your list, honestly. But maybe fortune smiles upon me. And,
Back to what? Oh,
Go ahead.
I say back to what we were. Like I am saddened that you're alive.
Look at you. Shut up. You don't care about me.
Looks sad bird. He says, we are trying to find a certain artifact in the jungle.
Oh, an artifact in the jungle. And he says, yeah, no, I've heard this story before. I've heard it before. You're looking for something. So let me guess, some rich twat sent you here, right? Some fool with too much money. And he wants some stupid toy to add to his collection. Is that it? I've heard this story 1,000,000 times. If that's what you're here for, you could fuck off.
We're here to face death.
You're here to face death. Wait a minute. Are you here with a death wish? You plan on what you want to go out into the jungle and get yourselves killed? Be my guest.
No. Literally death. We want to face it.
We are looking for. He kind of leans in close. Something called the soulmonger, right?
Yes.
The soulmonger.
He looks and he says, Soulmonger. I never heard of it. Says that sounds like some dark shit. You guys.
One adventuring party has already dove into the jungle and then not returned.
He says, well, I don't know that's a common occurrence, my friend. Many dive into the jungle and never return. And he says, that I don't care about, but you say a soulmonger. What? I don't like the name of that. That creeps me out a little bit. And he says, why are you looking for this dark thing, this evil?
I look to
Dwarves don't like evil.
Upon saying that, do I look to War and I kind of like a look like, should we tell him?
We believe that it is the source of the death curse.
This is
Trying to keep that kind of low so that only
trying to
he's
keep
hearing
it
it,
low.
not.
Yeah, I mean it's loud enough in here that no one would hear it. I mean, most of you who are in the pool are numb at this point. Maybe save for Alexandria, who's just making herself suffer through like making it warm and still feeling bits and feeling that cold keep coming back. And it's just like, and he let's see, he says, the death curse. This is something I've heard of. This is. I saw a man in a tent in Malar's throat, one of the ghettos to the south of the city. He was suffering. He was dying. Nothing could heal him. Nothing could help him. He died recently, actually. Threw his body. He was a poor man. Couldn't give a burial. Threw his body in the refuge pit to the west of town. Sad. It was sad to see this man go, but apparently he had been a rich man once and paid to have himself brought back to life. This, I believe, is why he died. At least that's what the rumors say.
Yes.
Cheating death. It's not what you want to do. I see it as punishment. Punishment by the gods for what we do here. We think we can live forever. That if you have enough gold, you can keep on going. It says, if you die, you die. And if you bring yourself back, I feel like you are entitled to all the pain and suffering that's coming your way. But that's just me. And he says, I can't stop a priest from using his godly powers. Those are gifted to him, and all power to him. But it's something wrong about it. Wrong, I tell you.
It's like, well, gods aside, but we believe the source of this curse is coming from that artifact.
Says, you think what, like a rock did this or something? Like just a single thing? Really?
We don't know if it's a artifact or even a person.
A person? You don't know much, do you?
It's a big scary rock with a skull on it.
So yeah, basically kind of up a creek without a ladder, but you know where a soulmonger, you know there's a soulmonger out there somewhere, but you just don't know where. He says, I don't lead expeditions that don't have destinations, okay? My plan when I go out in the jungle is always to go, get to the place I'm going, and come back. If you don't have a lead, you don't know where this place is. I mean, for God's sake, you even gone to Temple of Savros, see if you can learn anything?
We have. We've already gone to the temple.
This is
We
at
should
least
have our.
We
should
have an
our
appointment
prediction.
tomorrow.
This is at least you got that enough head on your shoulders for that. He says maybe that'll yield something. And he says, listen, I'm willing to take the job, but I ain't going to find your fucking soulmonger in the middle of nowhere. But I will help you with something else, and I'll help you by you helping me. I'll give you a destination, and it goes deep, deep into the jungle. Maybe you'll find your soulmonger on the way, you know? Like, if you don't know where you're going, I got a place we can go. And he kind of like looks you guys over to gauge reactions on that.
Or has an interested look on his face.
He says you're the adventure, you're the exploring type. As he goes into this, Valaria, do you leave?
Yeah, Valaria's lost interest.
All right, Valaria gets up and goes, leaving the bathhouse. I imagine. Did anybody ever give any money into the coinage into the clamshells or no?
Oh, I'll drop 15 coppers
Okay,
and a
cool.
silver piece.
Awesome. Yeah. If anybody else is, please minus your stuff from
Yeah, I'll
the. Yep. If anybody else did when they came in, because everybody does seem to be doing so. Yeah, she lost. Yeah, that's interesting. So can I dip into her mind? What lost her interest?
She lost interest because this guy is inexperienced and he doesn't really have anything to help us, and he also wasn't willing to do it in the first place. So
Yeah, this guy's a little rough around the edges for that. But yeah, as you sort of listen in, you see that Valaria seems to have checked out. She doesn't seem to be into this guy. Looks and he sees her leave, and he says, and he kind of just watches her leave and doesn't say anything, and looks to the rest of you and just kind of goes, says, "I got a place in the jungle, my home, the one I spoke of before. It's Harakma. Now listen, before you get any crazy ideas, I'm not asking you to take the place back. I'm not asking for you to be my saviors here to help me retake my homeland. I'm asking for one thing, and one thing only. I know my home is lost, but within it is an artifact, my own artifact, one that I seek to own, one that is my right as a dwarf. It's called Moradin's Gauntlet. This is, I know the fire newts haven't gotten to it. It's sealed behind a vault that can only be opened by a dwarf. I need people who are willing to help me get into the fortress, willing to help me find this gauntlet, and well, I know where it is, and get me out without dying. He says, you do this for me, I won't charge you a dime. Not a dime. And he says, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I put the guiding life behind me for the most part, but this is the one last time I want to go into my home, into my jungles. They belong to me. I deserve something from them. And yeah, Ozan kind of looks over to Musharib and almost kind of like a little bit skeptical, judgmental, and he kind of like looks. He's like, "Don't look at me like that, Ozan." And he says, "I don't give a fuck what your boss says. He can fire him. I don't care. He knows I haven't taken a job in a year." And he says, "And I know this is more or less my last chance. I don't give a shit." He says, either you help me on this, or you go find another guy. Says, because as far as I know, you want me to take you to Firefinger? Sure, I'll take you to Firefinger. You want me to take you to man, I don't know, Mbala? I'll take you to Mbala. He says, if you know what you're going, I'd take you, but you don't know where you're going. Oh, we lost someone.
We did? Oh, we lost Alex.
Oh, darn. He'll come back.
I say, let us convene with our party. Perhaps we can come to an agreement.
He's like,
We have been looking for multiple guides today, and the day has been long.
he's like, sure, go. You disturbed my bath anyway. And
I give a little bow, and I say, thank you for thank you for the conversation.
he says, yeah. Go. And he just looks tired. You know, he like sits back and kind of like he's going into deep meditative thought. Like you brought up some old memories for him, and he looks kind of pissed at Ozan that he like took you guys here.
Yeah, I step out of the bath. I go,
Okay, yeah, we step out of the bath. So you guys can retrieve your stuff back from the lockers. They are still smelly, and they are not. They are untouched, it would seem. And for the most part, all of your your goods are safe and with you. As you leave, each of you exchanging some coin in the bathhouse when you came in originally.
We're throwing a silver into the thing. Sorry.
What'd you say, Ward?
He's throwing a silver into the shell.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead and minus
Yep.
it.
little bit of an RP moment. As we're walking, you know, the dwarf's reflection on how when people, you know, it's the price of having, you know, being resurrected, like it's greedy or something. And I go, as we walk, I say, I know what you all might think, but Lord Samuel Dren is not like that. He died in a dungeon. He did not pay anyone to bring him back. He is not like that who uses money for such things.
Yes, the party, I think, yeah, Ryak initiates it. The party's discussion to bring you back, Asteria. The party's left the bathhouse to discuss how they feel about Musharib, and Ryak is, I believe, I don't know how much you lost or how much you heard, but he's speaking of of how Musharib had a pretty strong opinion on those who suffered from death and came back.
He's like, the dungeon itself killed him and then brought him back several decades later. It was not of his own choice.
I do not think I share his same sentiments,
That is good.
but he may be useful since
Yeah. And I kind of look at the entirety of the party when I say this. Perhaps when we, later tonight, we should converse our plan. I thought this would be as simple as getting a guide, but the dwarf is right. We should decide where we're going. Or rather, we should find out where the last expedition went.
Don't we know that?
yes.
You know that
We do? Oh.
Yeah.
You know that they headed down the River Socian Star to Camp Righteous.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's the last he heard of them after Camp Righteous came under attack.
Perhaps we should travel to Camp Righteous. Or actually, I turn to our guide for a moment.
To Ozan.
Ozan. He's like, Ozan, I know you do not speak, but the previous party employed by Samuel Dredd, do you know which guide they took?
He gestures. They took no guide.
Oh, I see.
Says, I do not recall the individuals you speak of.
That means they strange to just run out into the jungle.
Maybe they not have the guidance that we do.
I think he gestures overconfidence is the folly of many.
What say this walker? Who are you preferring for guide?
That's directed towards you, Kyle.
Yeah, she's thinking.
Oh, she's thinking.
Oh, she's thinking. The difficult decision.
I would have to side with Iku and the last lady we met.
Yes,
I cannot remember her name.
Solid.
Salada.
Salada.
Yes, she seemed confident. As I imagine, we're talking as we're getting our back.
Yeah, for sure.
She seemed confident, but the dwarf spoke some truths. He seemed very cautious, and that perhaps that should be what we do as well. I do not wish to die in the jungle.
No. Yeah, so far you've met a woman who seems mysterious and sure of herself, but peaceful, maybe eerily peaceful about everything. That I think you guys have some suspicions about, and then you met an overconfident young woman, short, petite, beautiful, and you've met a bit of a grumpy old dwarf. It's kind of got a very realist look to everything. So yeah.
Now, if you had written this adventure, I would go with the grumpy old dwarf.
Yeah, would you have gone?
Asteria, what do you think?
Oh, Asteria has been going with Eku since she met her.
You're with Aku then. War.
I would prefer Eku, but her fee is large.
Yes.
The reason I think Musharib may be useful is because we could potentially make an excursion and learn things without having to pay anything.
That's true. The first expedition need not take so long. Perhaps we should probe the jungles.
Perhaps so.
Perhaps the Temple of Savros will give us more information.
Tomorrow, yes, they have a divination for you guys on the morrow.
Coincidentally, at the exact same time, those people are showing back up.
About the same time, yeah, which is good for you. Probably on purpose. He wants you to be there to protect him.
I go. Tell me, friends, should we find another guide? Or...
Ozan's willing to show you guys another guide, but one more will put you guys in the evening.
I don't know. Those were the three that were probably the best options.
Yeah.
Ozan, seeing that you guys are discussing things, seems to offer because I think at this point we can communicate with him pretty well in gesture, and it's essentially I'm just giving you sort of the base of what you believe him to say. Some of it might not be completely right. He just says, "Shall we get a drink over?"
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
Yes.
And my talons hurt.
Says,
We should at least wait until tomorrow after the divination to make our final decision anyway.
Shall we return to Kaya's house of repose, or will I take you to another location?
Unless, of course, the divination's results would depend on who we chose today.
Oh.
I do not know of these divinations as much.
That is not my field of expertise.
If it's fortune telling, then one could only assume that if we chose a guide beforehand, they would have a divination based on those results.
This is true.
Yeah.
So if they say we're going to die, We choose a different guy.
This is true.
Clever.
I will say this. Let us vote for Eku. And depending on the divination, we could do Salada or even Musharib.
That
If
sounds
the results are poor.
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
That does sound fine.
So you guys are setting Eku in your mind, to be like, no, we're gonna choose her to try to kind of like will the fates a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
Cool. I want everyone to make a wisdom check, group wisdom check for that.
Oh, group wisdom check.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
wow.
base wisdom score.
Oh, so do I just click on the wisdom?
Yeah, just click on the wisdom.
I'm good at wisdom.
Same.
Oh, whoops! I think I just rolled with advantage.
First one's your
That was first one, yeah.
That's always first one. Nice, nice.
Ryok saving the party.
So you try to like lead it into your head, and I think it makes sense because War in Asteria, you have some difficulty like focusing on like we're gonna pick her because you're like, oh, this seems, but maybe we won't, you know?
Yeah.
You're very true to your heart,
Yeah.
individuals, and I think with Ryok and Alexandria, you might be a little more resolute to be like, no, let's. I want to see how this divination works out. I think we're going with her. And it's just like holding to that thought to try to like will the fates a little bit. As Ozon leads you back toward the fish market, he asks again where you would like to be taken. I can lead you to Kaya's house of repose if you wish to return there, or the Golden Hall perhaps. He says, I do not know where you stay.
I say the House of Repose. If we're not,
That's where Iku was, correct?
He says, yes, the Thundering Lizard is also an option.
Yes. I believe
But
we also
yeah,
discussed
I will
staying
not
there.
join you there.
Would you like boisterous or poetry slam?
Ozan explains that he will not join you at the Thundering Lizard, but will not stop you from going there.
I say the House of Repose. Seemed nice.
Yes, may as well.
And
Nice.
Samuel booked us stay there. Either.
Yeah.
Either
You guys,
place.
you guys make your way through the Red Bazaar. You see that at this point it's probably 5 o'clock getting towards dinner. There's less people in the streets. A couple of people still trying to buy things, get their meat before it goes bad. And the Red Bazaar is actually starting to pack up a little early. It doesn't really stay much past dinner time because that's when people are buying their meats, buying their food, and you see a lot of meat kind of going into the trash as it's being discarded. And you make your way back up to the simple Kaya's House of Repose, this fairly large building that you enter. It's quite extravagant if I didn't describe the House of Repose before. When you move in, I think I actually have some descriptions that I never got to land on you guys. Get ready for some book descriptions. Here we go. Sweet. Very cool. Yes, the first floor, the entryway, ends at what looks to be like a host desk of sort, and a half-spiral staircase after the host desk marks the entrance to what looks to be a dining area. And the dining area within has probably 8 or so tables that seat multiple people at its middle, 3 private booths that sit near the back of that room, and then kind of on the other section of the House of Repose is a bar. And you've been in here before, so I'm kind of giving you guys a description of the place you were just at. A bar at the far end of the dining room and restrooms behind the bar itself, and a large 2-story theater, that one that you saw Eku doing her slam poetry on, has its entrance between the restrooms and the bar itself, and the stage is quite large, at least 20 feet, 20 feet just by itself. The audience area itself contains 6 round tables with 3 chairs on the first floor, and then a balcony on the second floor that has like couches that can seat up to quite a few people each. And there's 3 floors to Kaya's House of Repose. The other 2 remaining floors are for rooms, you imagine, and for those who are staying in Kaya's. And as you approach this sort of host counter, You're addressed by the host. You drop your names. She allows you in for a room for the night if that's what you're saying. People are allowed to just sort of seat in the dining rooms. It's kind of how you guys got in the first place. But if you're claiming rooms, she will gladly list your names, see them on the list as Samuel said, and give you each a small key to your room. What you will notice is the keys are extremely short and like they're like fat little keys, and they almost look like imagine like a round little stone that you would hold on, and then sticking out is a piece of metal that looks a little jaded to be a key, but probably only about an inch. And she just hands you these little trinkets that you don't recognize as keys at first, but then shortly do after. And yeah, you can enter into the House of Repose, enjoy a drink at the bar, which does cost money. But I think the thing that's kind of set up for the House of Repose is like you can come in if you do have a room, and you guys said you did. If you come in, drink what you want, eat what you want, and when you leave, they'll charge you the tab.
Okay.
And the price difference was this one's like a silver a night or something, right?
This one is a let me.
It was like a silver versus a certain amount of copper a night.
But we did have one night.
Yeah, you do have one night paid for.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, you have one night paid for at the House of Repose. After that, they're gonna start adding up a tab, so you can probably drink a little bit, eat a little bit.
Yeah.
Trying to see.
I didn't realize the first one was paid for.
Yeah, trying to see where exactly the prices are for this. Let me just take a quick peek at my notes. Thank you for your patience. 18. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Kaya's House of Repose is a gold a night, and Thundering Lizard is 5 silver.
A gold a night?
1 gold per night at the House of Repose, and one night has been covered for you.
Okay.
Well, we probably are gonna leave tomorrow anyways. After we go to the temple and choose a guide.
Divination, get our guide, go shopping for supplies, and then head out, probably.
All right. When you go in, you don't see Iku. Iku's not here in Kaya's House of Repose anymore. She may have gone to her room, or she might be somewhere else. You're not sure, but you don't see her when you enter the house. Ozan steps in and is immediately recognized along with you guys. And after you get your room, he goes to the back of the bar to have himself a nice drink, which he pays for, and he's kind of just enjoying that and probably being near you, wanting to hear the discussion. He's basically your real estate agent for guides, so he definitely wants to hear what you guys have to say about your guides, unless you ask him for privacy. So I imagine you're in sort of that main area where the bar is and the stage and the tables. Yeah, this place is extravagant for sure. There's a lot of like nice wall decorations. There's water available everywhere in different cisterns. Running water can be heard. There's plenty of flora. What would you guys like to do?
War offers to buy Ozon's drink, FYI.
Ozan looks over and smiles and bows, and he says, "As long as I can buy yours."
Okay.
And
That seems like a poor plan for him.
Oh yeah, that might be our plan for him. Where are the rest of you? Do you all join Ozan at the bar to discuss your decision making here?
Yes.
All right. As you do, there's a single performance that comes up on stage. A gentleman with there's probably like 4 or 5 tables that are filled, and they clap as he enters. And a bard starts stringing tales of the far off lands of Thay and the slaves that live there, and how they live the lives of pain. But to escape such a place is a beautiful thing, and I would know it myself, for I was from Thay. And he's just singing this song. It's a I wouldn't say it's a tearjerker. It's a little bit dramatic, but he's good at playing it. So good music to listen to while at the bar of Kai's house. suppose.
Syria makes a comment about how she met a red wizard once, and he was a jerk.
And I think you see Ozan, who's become a little more talkative with you guys, especially as he's sipping down on this drink, and he says, "Oh yes, they have a reputation. Best to stay away from such people."
So,
He says, "You strike me as curious people.
indeed.
You search for these guides, yet you do not know where you go. I cannot tell if it is bravery or stupidity." I was not calling you stupid.
No offense, Dave.
About to say, getting pretty blunt over here.
He says, "I am just impressed."
Take no more drinks.
Yeah. I say, I owe Samuel Jen a debt. I wish to repay it, but perhaps these ventures might prove more bountiful than just repaying my friend.
Well,
There is so much good thesis material in this town.
I simply joined to travel, and it is interesting to find out from Wakanga that my people originated from here.
Yes.
Oh yes, that is right. Your people are from here.
For all I know, I could be as well.
Yes, this is my home as well. You kind of see Riak get a little sad. Just a tiny kind of reflection in her eye, like, it is not my home.
What was that? Repeat yourself and say.
I say, yes, this place was my home. Yes, it was my home.
And I think Ozan would hear that and lean over. Says, "Port Nyanzaru is home to those who would will it to be." And this is, how can Chult not be your home?
I say, kind of not expecting someone to question that. He says,
He's confused.
he's like, my people are very secular, even for wearing pants. And he gestures to his pants. Is the epitome of blasphemy.
He lets out. It's hard for him not to let out a little bit of a laugh, but he calms it quite quickly, and he says, "I would know little of your people." He says,
Oh, go ahead.
"But I think home is where you make it. I am not from Chult, but I have found home here."
Yes, very true sentiment.
And he looks to you, War, and he says, "You hope to find your roots here, yes?"
Maybe. I didn't know I was walking into that when I came here.
He says, "Sometimes knowing one's past," and he thinks for a moment on the way to gesture, and he says, "It is better left to mystery."
That may be true.
Oh, that sounds very ominous.
And he says, "My past is one I am ashamed of. So I feel fear for you." And he's definitely get a little bit of drink and wants to talk to you. He spent a whole day with you guys.
Getting chummy.
He looks to Asteria and Alexandria, I think, and I don't think he says quite as much, but he does have something. He does have something for Asteria. I think he will be like, "I've seen you writing as we traveled. What is it that's so interesting to capture?"
Oh, there's a lot to capture, and she goes into a rant about everything he's writing down.
Ozan dives into it and looks awkwardly over at Alexandria, like he doesn't have anything to say to her and is a little like nervous and takes the opportunity to just get stuck in your conversation and use that as an excuse.
And she's trying to get information out of him to add to the book too.
Okay, yeah, you probably get some little bits of just on like how Port Nine Zaru works, but Chult in general and its histories, he doesn't know much. I think you drive from him that he is Thayan. That's probably the one bit that you get, probably wanting to wonder from where he's from. He's from Thay. And something that you would note, he's bald too, so that's interesting. But he doesn't look like a red wizard.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he doesn't. And you didn't catch any sort of magical like stuff off of him either. What's Alexandria doing? Seeing that she's kind of cut out of the conversation, at least between Ozan and the party.
She's being very quiet, just listening and sipping on her drink and eating whatever comes close to roasted chicken legs here. Probably raptor haunches or something.
Nice. Yeah, I think just conversation about the guides is kind of what fills the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we close this day of Port Nyanzaru. You guys enjoying the luxurious rooms of Kaya's House of Repose, which include quite all the all of the things that you need. Very, very similar to your stay in Wakanga Atomu's villa. Maybe not quite as nice, but it's getting there. So you've been living in luxury the past 2 days. So as we come to this second day, if you've spent anything, you can refresh it. I don't think we have. And everybody gains 25 experience points. That is for the chase. Even though you did not succeed, I am giving you the XP. Because that was a full thing. Everybody gets it.
How much experience do I get for the larceny?
The larceny is the same. 25 XP for everybody who's involved.
I will give myself 26 XP.
Yeah, you can add it right to your token or onto your character sheet, however you wish. To make it, the token should make it a little bit easier to track.
That's what the red one is for.
That's what the red button is for. Huh. Excellent. Yeah, cool. So we come to the next day, a brand new day in Port Nyanzaru. Ozan did have to leave for the night, but when he trusts, I think at the very end of the night, he trusts that you are going to be able to pick a guide for yourself. And that he has given you the locations of where to find the guides anytime during the day. They will arrive in the places that you've come. So if you stay in Kaya's House of Repose long enough, you will find Iku. The bathhouse, you will find Musharib. And if you go to the Executioner's Run, you will find, good lord, I want to call her Sildar, but that's not her name.
Salida.
You will find Salida.
Can we have Sildar as a guide?
No, you cannot have Sildar Hallwinter as a guide. He is mine. All right. So he has left. He has gone back to his home in the villa of Prince Jabal. And so when the morning wakes, you no longer have someone telling you where to go. It is your choice where to go. As we get to the second day, let me mark on our sheet.
And
expedition.
How do I hit prepared spells?
You need to right-click on the spell, or not right-click. You need to go to the gear on the spell, open up the settings, and check the prepared box. So we're on day 3 of the adventure. First day.
And I am getting rid of detect good, evil, and good.
Yeah,
yeah.
Thank you. What is it? Tell me again.
I am replacing detect good and evil with a shield.
Perfect. Yeah, if you guys want to change your prepared spells at the beginning of the day, make sure you let me absolutely 100% know. And I'm going to roll random encounters for you today. And I might have to actually do an encounter from last night for you right now as you're leaving Kai's House of Repose. Don't tell anyone I did that. All right, so because I forgot about it. Encounter rolls. We're doing normal.
So I'm unpreparing all 4 of my spells and re-preparing all 4 of my spells because I only have 4.
Oh, great. Okay. Sweet. That's awesome. All right. Let's see what this would have been. Okay, cool. That is for that. So as you're leaving Kaya's House of Repose, you guys are stopped by an individual, a gentleman. And let me pull this up so I don't miss anything. Appreciate your patience. Got it. Got it. Nope. Nope. Okay, here we go. This and okay, I got it. Perfect. Did you? Oh. Yes. Yes. I got a message from one of you. Secret. Message me, person, if you wanted to go in on that, or if you just wanted to know, yes or no. Beep 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 beep. If anything, I think we might have to go in on it later, but let's see. Oh, okay. Excellent. So I'd like to know what they were. Would you be cool with me telling you after the session? Yes or no? And I want to keep this secret. Sorry, guys. I like to keep player secrets. Cool. After the session. Very cool. Secret person. All right. So you're stopped. You 4 are stopped by a gentleman. He looks quite well dressed. He's definitely not from here. His skin is pale. He wears kind of fairly tight clothing, and you can tell there's a little bit of armor under them. This looks like someone who might travel for sure. Probably it looks like probably someone who would be a little bit more on the wealthy side, a merchant, and you can tell that he's a ship-going man for sure. And he stops and puts a hand up and he says, "Hello, ladies and sir." And he says, "I've seen you in here before. I have a. May I buy you a drink? I know you look to be leaving, but I have a proposition for you."
Cox said, "What kind of proposition?"
And he says, "You look like the type of folks who might need a job." He says, I've seen you here before, and I couldn't help but see you out in the streets the other day. I was personally just going to the jeweler's market to exchange some goods, but I did see you past the old gate. If I'm not incorrect, you were being guided by one of somebody who looked important. And he said, "You look like folks who might need work." Sorry if I assume. I'm just. He says, "Let me buy you a drink, and I can introduce myself and explain a little bit." I don't normally do this, by the way.
I don't see why not.
What kind of work?
And he says, "Come to my table." And he says, "Please, a drink, a round, ales, tej, please." And they kind of shake their heads as if they kind of like know this guy, and like he might be a patron of here. He sits down and he says, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation a little bit with Iku, one of the guides of the city. I didn't eavesdrop for long, but you are planning to explore into the jungle. Yes? And this is kind of refreshing. This is the first individual who's spoken very fluent common to you in a while. It's very easy to speak to him. This is like a guy you'd see at Baldur's Gate. He says, you are doing making an expedition into the jungle.
Yes.
Yes.
And he says, oh, "Okay, good. I was afraid that maybe that wasn't the case and that this would have been terribly awkward." And he says, I am going out into the jungle as well, though I have not yet been able to find anyone to go with me. These guides they're terribly expensive, as I'm sure you may already know." And he says, "I can't afford. Well, I can, but let's just say I don't want my pockets plundered, if you know what I mean. I'd like to get to where I'm going in a more easy fashion, and I think that we can both benefit from from where exactly I am going. And he says, I am planning a very, very simple, very easy, not dangerous, an expedition towards Fort Belleran to the north. It is a flaming fist fort. I need to get there as soon as possible. And I'm just looking for people to travel with me who look as though they can handle themselves. And from what I can tell, you look the type. And I mean, those guides are quite expensive, and I could only sort of put two and two together that maybe you were shopping around. I wouldn't call myself a guide, but I know my way to Fort Belleran well enough, and I do know I did hear there are guides there as well that work for Jabal. So if you're looking to broaden your horizons or price ranges, Fort Belleran could be a smart idea for you. And he says, if you do this for me, I can offer you. I can't offer you any gold right now. This would be a beneficial thing between us, but I can. Once we get to Fort Belleran, I can offer you a charter of exploration for free once we get there. These things normally cost 50 plus gold, and if the Flaming Fist were to catch you exploring out in the jungle without one, you would surely run into a very unfriendly dispute, one that could cost you your lives. And he says, they own most, not own, but they pilfer most of the eastern side of Chult, as far as I'm aware. And if you go there, or, I mean, they could be expanding other places, and you are found without a charter, it could be dangerous. This is why I think it's beneficial. You help me get to Bellerin, and I get you a charter of exploration. It says the path barely touches the jungle. In fact, we can avoid it entirely. And he says, I know you seem as though you have things to do today, but I plan on leaving tonight, and I'm hoping that you all would accompany me. If not, I may have to pay some unsavory sellswords, which I don't really want to do. And he says, I think we could benefit. Basically, is what I'm saying. It's a more. This is a friendly offer. What do you say?
Didn't get your name.
Gonna roll an insight check while he's getting questioned.
Yeah, no problem. So his name is. He says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to say my name. Like I said, I'm nervous. I don't normally do this. My name is Roka." And he says, "Just Roka." Puts his hand out to shake yours. We got 9 insight. Guy seems genuine. I mean, he seems like he just wants to get a place, and he overheard you guys talking about exploring, and he's taking a chance. You can tell he's a little nervous. Like, yeah, he's probably right. He doesn't normally do this. And he says there are many supplies in Fort Bellerin as well. It's as good a place to launch an expedition as any.
Why the rush tonight?
And he says, I've come about some sensitive information, some that needs to get to Fort Bellerin as soon as possible. It's very important, and I don't exactly want to. I can't really share. It's valuable to me, and we all have things that are valuable to us, and I need to get this information to Fort Bellerin.
And you intend to leave tonight and travel through the dark.
He's like looking around a little bit. He's like, yeah. I need to get out tonight.
I don't.
No.
He says, that brazen.
I say, we've not traversed the jungles yet. I know enough of Chult but never venture in night to start an expedition.
He says, he looks mad, like he wants to like argue a little bit, and he says, if that is the feeling of all of you, I understand. I had hoped that this would be beneficial, that maybe you were looking for a charter of exploration. To not have one is dangerous, as I said before. And he started to like stop himself, but I understand.
It is a tempting offer, perhaps. What this information? Yes.
What'd you say?
I say very brazenly. He's like, is this information dangerous?
He says,
You clearly do not wish to be in the city.
And he says, I believe that the longer I stay here, the more dangerous it will become, but right now, no.
We
Say,
have prior engagements tomorrow, so
And
this
he says,
is unfortunate timing as well.
Says, I figured as much. I am sorry that I disturbed you. Please enjoy your drinks. If you change your mind, I can be found here until late into the night.
okay.
If the information does need to get there quickly, we do have a glorified carrier pigeon.
He looks to you and he says, I'm not sure if you could carry me. You see, this information is not something that I am willing to share. I apologize for the secrecy.
I'm looking around for a carrier, dude.
He's looking at you. Yeah. And he says,
that is a derogatory comment to being a man.
Everything's derogatory
derogatory
with you. Someone says hi and it's derogatory towards you.
He says, well, I can't say that this isn't a little bit disappointing. But I will search elsewhere. If you find me here later tonight, you'll know that I found no one and that I'm still willing to accept your help. So I apologize for disturbing you. Please enjoy your tej. And he sits up from the table and kind of just leaves his drink behind. Had barely sipped.
Have a good day.
And he says he doesn't say anything. He just sort of leaves. I don't think he hears you.
I drink his drink.
So Asteria is very anti getting a Flaming Fist charter because she feels like they're trying to impose rule on a place that isn't theirs.
Why do you think none of them are in Port Nyanzaru? They were not allowed. So yeah, they're.
That man was a spy. We do not affiliate with spies.
Well, we could affiliate with spies out into the jungle.
You know what? You know what I do. You know
Not
what
that I would
do
do something like that.
You know what I do say?
Alexandria.
Oh,
sorry. What do you say?
I having heard that, Ryak knows of the Flaming Fist in Chult, and probably does not like them in Chult. And I kind of lean in, and his eyes, Ryak's eyes get really small, beady, and he says, perhaps. As we're walking away from the tavern, I say,
I'm enjoying my drink.
Yeah. Before we walk away from the tavern, if you have something to say as they're walking away.
I just say perhaps it would be in our best interest to maybe alert one of the princes.
Of what?
That man has some information. Perhaps one of the princes.
You could. You definitely could. I think as you say that, Alexandria, you finish the drink. It's a mug of ale that looks like this. The bottom of the drink is a card.
Classy.
Do you do anything, or do you leave it in the cup?
I take the card. What is it? What's on it?
Do you take it with everyone being able to see?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, everyone sees that he's pulled out this card. And you flip it over, and it seems to be a playing card that has been altered, for sure, like painted over in white and then quickly painted over in a message. It says, I can help you deal with many things. I know a lot of people. And it feels like it was addressed just to you, Alexandria, maybe. Well, you took his drink, but I think maybe he pushed his drink over in your direction, like you can have it kind of thing, because that's probably the situation. And it has a symbol on the bottom that Ryak, you recognize if anyone can sort of read this card. It is the symbol of the Zentarum, the dagger with the snake around the hilt of the blade.
Oh, that's the symbol of the
Zentarum.
The Zentara. They were trying to gone the priest.
The ruffians that were at the priest.
Yeah, you imagine this is a words he wanted to have with you but couldn't in the open. Says he can help you with many other things.
Well, we'll know where he'll be. Yes, you do.
So you guys head out from the bar back into Port Nyanzaru proper. The city is yours. Where are we going, guys? It is morning. You know that your divination is probably locked in and ready. The markets are bustling, filled with merchants, and ready for you to spend your money.
All right. So as a player reminder, I was going to go over some of the things we got here too.
Yeah.
Because we want to go probably to the Temple of Savras, get the divination thing. There's also dinosaur races that we haven't checked out yet. We wanted to procure a guide. We need to purchase supplies. The Fort Bellerin to get a permit to explore thing was a thing that Jabal said that we'd be killed if we were seeing the permit in the jungle. So that's like the same thing that guy just said.
He laughed but didn't seem to care.
Yeah. Wakongo wanted us to find a construct somewhere in the jungle. We forgot to ask him where. Looking out for the Company of the Yellow Banner, which is the previous thing that Samuel had us sent out. And then there are other random things that we heard about for we could be sellswords for Jabal if we need money. And there's a pirate bounty that Wakanga had was happy was placed somewhere out in the port. So those are kind of the laundry list of things.
Let's go get our divination.
Yeah.
All right. The divination heading straight there. Very cool. All right. So the party makes its way across the bustling streets of Port Nyanzaru. You can hear the second day of races taking place as they pound their way through the perimeter of the streets of the inner walls of Port Nyanzaru. The cheers can be heard from those activities as you make your way past the harbor district and the Grand Souk, where you can hear goods being dealt with. You can see ships being sort of pulled into the harbor by great beasts of burden, these dinosaurs, as they are pulled into these different creeks. I don't know what you'd call those, alleyways of water. There's a better word for them.
Canal.
Canal. God, I love you. Thank you. Into these canals as these large ships filled with goods are pulled in and dropped off in warehouses of that walled off harbor district. You make your way back past the dry dock where you see that ship with that big chunk of like a monster size fucking bite taken out of the side of that ship at the dry dock over here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna highlight this as the warehouse district so that you guys can see. What's up?
Oh.
You're saying, oh, okay, you're good. Cool. You make your way past this building here, and you hear what sounds like that tinkering going on inside. And you see a great fountain that is in its center courtyard that makes its way up and over the top of its rooftops. And I think you see a couple of individuals there who look to be wearing some sort of ceremonial garb. And on their ceremonial garb, you see gears and like I imagine gear illustrations, and you see an actual talismans around their neck that look like gears, and you recognize them. These are Gondians. These are people who worship the god Gond, a very popular god in Baldur's Gate. And you can hear just the sounds of all the tinkering, all the different inventions that are being made inside of this temple. And I think being that's probably the third time you've passed it, you can confirm that's definitely a temple of Gond. You make your way back up to the Temple Hill as the area begins to quiet down and the music changes. We're going into the Merchants Ward, a fancier side of town where people look a lot nicer dressed. I never rolled for weather today, which I will now. It's about to rain on you suckers. Regular. Oh boy. Boom! Fucking heavy rain. It is just pattering down as hot, and it's still hot, 93-degree day, and the rain it's a storm that's come through. And I think this whole time that you've been passing these things, all that activity is still happening throughout the rain. The Chultans persevere and are used to this, and there are drive spots here and there, but the stormy rains come back quite quickly, and it's sideways rain for sure. Port Nyanzaru is enduring a bit of a storm, and you make your way through, and quickly, I imagine, into the Temple of Savros, where you finally find a dry spot. Having to walk through, probably going like building to building. Anytime you got under an archway of a wall, you probably hide there a little bit and like dive to like the next place and the next place. And let me change up the music to be more of our halls, more of our churchy area. Yeah, here we go. All right, you step into the Temple of Savros, which is nowhere near the level of disturbed that it was the first time you came here. Those thugs don't seem to return just yet. And as you make your way through the halls, you see Grandfather Zatembe, and he is in the midst of speaking to a few of his underlings, a few priests and priestesses, and instructing them on how to kind of deal with a client that they have in another chamber as they come, and you can hear them sort of whisper in Chultan, probably just asking questions of like, oh, they're having this problem, what do you think, Grandfather? And he kind of like waits for a moment, touches his fingers to his head, he says, the child will be safe. Tell them the child will be safe. And they go on, they say, thank you, Grandfather. And he says, yes. Oh, familiar faces. Hello, welcome back to the Temple of Savros. And he says, those who have donated toward his greatness and his wisdom will see the future before their eyes. And he says, I have it here. And he looks over, and you see that sort of stepped up on this like multi-step like altar is this pillar with a basin of water at the end, and it's a fairly large basin, probably the size of, I imagine, like, oh god, I don't have it's big. It's a big basin. It's big enough for you to all get all the way around. And you see that the water is clear and seems to be like a light blue, and you can't see the bottom. It's murky. And he kind of like takes a position at the basin, and you guys all, I imagine, unless you say no, you're not going to step up to this, don't want to be a part of it, also step up to the basin where he gestures, please take a place by the well of knowledge.
I humor him.
More
Yeah,
step
you
up.
do.
You said I humor him?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And he says, this was a group divination, one that is difficult for me to summon, but Savros has seen to cast his blessing upon you, and the spell came to me very easily. I was able to cast it, and the ritual components were brought to me by his will, and of course your gold to some extent. And he says, thank you again for your donation. Savros remembers all. And he says, are you prepared to look inside? You see, I have not just yet, and I too am excited to see your future. Yep. And he looks to you and kind of like grabs the side of the basin and gets his face really close to it and waits like right next to the water and waits for the rest of you. Do you do anything?
Are we supposed to like look into the water? Is that what he's
he looks
motioning
at
for?
He just goes, oh, you have never been to a Temple of Savros?
No.
I'm sorry. He says, we are to dip our heads into the water. Let the liquid flow through us, breathe it in, and we will see his vision. The thing that the future divined for us. He says, it is a exhilarating experience to be given a look through his very eyes. And he says, dip your face into the water, breathe it in like it is air, and I promise you that you will see what he has to offer you.
Okay. Word goes straight for it.
All right.
Well,
yeah.
I go for it too. I just, as a player comment, this is how we found out the Temple of Savros is a death cult.
All right, guys, let's drink the Kool-Aid. Everybody's dead but War.
Oh my goodness.
No, turtles can just hold their breath really long. I think they can't breathe underwater, if I remember correctly.
I go I do it like a bird.
Oh yeah, you go in, all right, and you breathe it in as deeply as you possibly can. And as you do, at first you get that reflex like, oh no, water, like I'm gonna drown, and it comes in like air, like the freshest breath of air that you've ever felt in your life. And oh man, I wish I had some divine music right now. I don't think it is. I don't think it is divine music. I think it's just. I think silence will work for this. It is just. It is just quiet. Silence. You hear nothing. The sounds of Chult, the bustling city, the echoing chambers of the Temple of Savros, you leave behind. And as you enter in, you take that breath. You inhale, and then exhale, and you feel almost as though you've left your body. You are no longer you're no longer bending over the side of this basin, but you have you have become ethereal, and you have sort of, it's almost like you're in like a spirit of sorts, and you kind of like look down at your hands, and you can see like just like the almost like a translucent blue. There's like ash coming off of your fingers, of your hands, and you are spectral in nature, and you just sort of look, and it's utterly weird. Some of you might even panic for the moment. You don't know what kind of drug this is, or what the hell you just took, what kind of mind melding magic. What's up?
Shit, I did die.
You think you're dead for a moment, and you look around for your friends, and you realize that they're not there. But at the same time, you realize that you are all looking through the same set of eyes, the same set at the same time, the same perspective, and you hear Zatembe's voice, and it comes like a echo, like it gets closer and closer, and then finally comes to clarity, and he says, "Let your senses be calmed. You are seen through the eyes of our God, Savros." And he says, "He will show you your future." And it's sort of, you're surrounded by this cloudy mist that you're just sort of swimming in, and it's just utterly quiet, and there's a peacefulness to it, but like an uneasiness to it as well. And he says, let it flow through you. Let him show you. And as you kind of release for a moment, let yourself relax and not panic at the state that you're in, the clouds begin to separate. As they do, you feel it's so quiet, so like you don't move at all, and it's not jarring. Your senses feel like they're rushing as fast as they can through the environment, through whatever's around you, through time and space, as you rip your way through, and you can see things passing you, but they're like thoughts and ideas rather than people and things. It's weird. There's like entire years that seem to pass by you. It's all weird, and you can't really gather anything from it. You can't grab anything from it. It comes by so easily, like a breath of air, and you immediately stop, and you come upon a scene. You see a street, long and narrow, going far into the distance, in a city you do not recognize. You see buildings around you, some of them tall and magnificent, huge, way bigger, 4 times the size of Port Nyanzaru, a massive city. And there are people walking around, people moving, and they're almost moving in like a slow motion of sorts. And you notice that they go very quickly from moving around, doing their average everyday things, the things you expect people to do in a city, to running. They're running, they're screaming, they're trying to escape something. You're not sure, and you hear Grandfather Zatembe's voice. He says, wait, this is not right. And he says, this is not the future. He says, no, no, no. Savros is showing you something else. He says, oh, he says, what sort of divine intervention is this? He looks, he's like, I think this is the past. And he says, I'm sorry, I don't have complete control. Savros is the one who divines. This isn't normal. And he says, what are we looking at? And he's like interested in it, and you see this world, this city, this place you've never heard. You can tell you're in Chult. You can feel it. You can see the jungle atmosphere around you through your ethereal vision. And you see spiraling out of the sky a black pillar right down into a center of this long road. As this black pillar lands, it bursts forth, and its flames spew across the land, and not the entire land. They spew across sort of the block, this entire block of city, and you see it just consume people, and you watch as their spectral forms just rip back and go from flesh to skeletal immediately, and they fall to bones. As the dust clears, and I think this is when we start getting creepy music.
Because none of this was creepy already.
As the dust clears from that explosion, you see a very disturbing figure walk forth. Now, your guys are getting kind of a bird's eye view of this a little bit at this point, as this individual walks down this single street. The way they look, let me get you a picture. Basically, the guy on the cover of the book is who you see. You see the guy on the cover of the book. You see an individual ordained in strange alien-like armor. They have a cloak that billows and sort of curls with them as if it is alive, like a snake behind him. He carries a staff, long and tall, with skulls melded into the top. And you see runes of each rune, and those who are spellcasters can see that each rune represents a different school of magic burned into the skull, and each of these skulls has a long tangling beard on it, still intact, and they are just sort of seared into the side of this metal, full steel staff. As far as you're concerned, it's some sort of metal. And this individual makes his way down the path, and as he does, you see people run and scream and can do nothing, as they are murdered for simply being in his presence. His very aura is destroying them. And as he walks, the only thing you can hear, you can't hear their screams, you can't hear the destruction. The only thing that you hear is his staff slamming with each step, cling, 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 onto the stone of that long street. And Grandfather Zatemba says, this is something dark. I will end this spell. I will end this spell immediately. And as he goes to do so, you feel a magic start to take hold of you. You can tell it's from Grandfather Zatemba as he's trying to dispel the vision, trying to apologize and rip you guys away. And as you do, I think we almost zoom in, like the eyes, like you can't help your vision. You can't control where you're looking. The eyes zoom in right at the back of this individual, and they just turn right around and look right at you. This horrible, undead face, ripped and torn, pieces of flesh layered on pieces of flesh, barely hanging on, the teeth entirely exposed, and the eyes dark, endless pits with single pinpoints of light. And you see a smile crack across that horrible face, and you hear, "What's this. And you hear Grandfather Satembe. What? Did it talk to us? No, I have to complete the spell. And he holds out a hand, this one individual. No. And I want you all to make wisdom saving throws.
Oh god. Oh no. So this is a wizard. Wisdom saving throw. Oh no. Oh, no. I think I wrote them.
Yeah, go ahead and get those rolls. Let me get a...
Oh god, that's creepy.
Dustin, I think your camera died.
Oh,
No.
yeah, he's in and out. You have
Oh,
to,
okay.
yeah, no, it died.
I accidentally hit the back button.
Okay, you're good. What is
I rolled an 18 on my wisdom saving throw.
Is that everybody?
I think we're
All
on.
right. So, this spell casts, and all of you, save for Alexandria, feel your body freeze. And it's weird because you're all seeing through the same eyes. You imagine the same body, but you feel your individual bodies freeze. And Alexandria, you still feel free. You're still able to move, but you feel that magic on you like a gravity, and you have to fight it. And it's not affecting you. The rest of you are fucking stone cold. You've never been able to not move like this in your lives. It's suffocating. You can't even breathe. And it holds you. Alexandria, you're fighting against it. You could still to try to puff out those breaths of air. And you just hear a voice as you hear the bones. And the weird thing, you can only hear him and the sounds he makes. His cloak, his armor, and the bones crinkling. He just goes, funny. I thought I wasn't being watched. This is not something for you to see. And he looks and he says, how are you here? And he looks around a little bit, and you can tell that he's casting some kind of spell without even having to utter a component. The eyes of a god. That's low. And he says, maybe I'll rip the eye out of Savros' skull and teach him some manners. And you hear Satembe, he can't talk. You're all trapped inside your minds, actually. You can't even speak. I think all you can hear other than him is Alexandria's pants of trying to resist this spell, barely being able to, but still somehow just on the edge. And he just looks like, no witnesses. And he begins moving towards you, towards the eyes. At this point, you've zoomed back out, and the eyes are panicked, looking around, and you can tell they're not yours. They could be Savros's, and you are inside the panicked eyes of a god as he approaches slowly, and you see a crackling spell, and he's like, no one will know. No one. And as he approaches, you see, coming from different sections of this city, white light. 9 white lights begin pouring their way through the different streets of this city. And as he makes his way up and hears it, he jerks. No. And he reaches forward, and he watches each of these lights blast into him. Boom, boom, boom. And you see symbols pop up, one of a monkey, the other of what looks to be a snail, and then another, a bear, these different ones. And he's like, no one will see. And he's trying to get closer and closer, and he reaches a hand out, and he's so close to you, and the last one blasts into him, and he gets hurtled back. And you watch as there's these multiple animal spirits around him as they pull him down, and he rips one off and just fucking breaks it with one hand, and you watch an explosion flash from it, and you imagine maybe you just watch something quite divine die, and he destroys it, and he's just no. And as he reaches that hand forward, you feel yourselves release, and Grandfather Zatembe, and he finishes his spell, lets the last word seep from his lips, and the fog re-consumes you. And as it does, you see instantly that fog turns to water. You feel yourself, and you can't breathe, and you lift out of the water. You are back in the church, back in the temple of the temple of Savros, and fucking Zatembe is thrown to the floor. What do the rest of you look like?
Ryox is like kind of like holding his head, kind of cradling his head. Like
Yeah, Zatembe's on the floor, just like coughing up the water. War, Asteria, Alexandria. What do you guys look like as you leave this?
War is like still clutching the side of the bowl and just kind of taking a deep breath over and over again, staring into that water.
You've never felt such power. It's like something to freeze you like that is death itself. You felt dead even. Asteria.
There are multiple lights appearing on her all over, and she has flames in both hands.
Oh, shit. All right, yeah, you see Asteria all lit up with divine power, something you have not seen before. There are, and I imagine like angelic, like tracings on her flesh, and yeah, that flame is lit up. You see wings behind her. It's all transparent. Like imagine ducking at like 50% transparency, but it's there, and like her eyes, I imagine, are quite white at that as well. Alexandria
is on her knees, her arms crossed over on top of the pool, her head kind of just looking down at the ground, retching up whatever water was still in her lungs. But if anybody ever cared to look at her, they would just, between the strands of her hair blocking out her face, see the most uncomfortably wicked smile.
Oh, yeah, I think we see that in the camera for sure. So Zatembe is just crawling on the floor, and he's just, I don't know what that was. What? Savros? What have you shown us? That thing. It made Savros afraid. I've never felt it. I've never felt that before. And he starts crying.
War like goes from staring into the pool, just turns his head at the Grandfather Zatembe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he says, "We told you what we were looking for."
He says, it was supposed to be the future. What we saw was the past. And he says, Savros does not give such a gift. And he says, he endangers himself. And he says, did you see that pillar, the black pillar, the stone of obelisk?
Yes.
was that? But I don't know.
It's not the smoke, the obelisk, the stone.
Spiraled thing that the flames poured from.
Oh no, that was horrible. But there was an obelisk, a stone. It was in the sky.
Yes.
It was descending.
Oh,
What'd you say?
it's like yes, it dropped from
This is not the one made of smoke, one of stone. He says, I saw it. It took much of my power, but I had to see through the periphery. Above us, hovering over the city, was an obelisk of stone, black stone. It was descending slowly after the thing, the creature, the undead monster. It held the gaze of a god. What was that? And he's just like, I don't understand. And he just seems to be questioning his own his own religion. Nothing has ever shook this man in this way.
How sure were you that it was the past?
He says, it was blurry. It was the etherealness of the waiting room that we were in. Essentially, it clung to us. The future is more clear to Stavros. This was something faded, something he had to draw up from the deep past, but something that he had to show you.
Wow.
Could it have been?
Why would Savros bless us with this?
He says,
Curse us.
I do not know, but the fear that he felt. To be given the gift of a god's vision is to be given a piece of their emotion. And I have never felt one so strong from Savros.
Where was this place?
He says, I do not know. He says, I do not know. And give me one quick moment to actually check and see, because I know he doesn't know where this place is, but I want to know what information that he can offer you, because this is fucking important.
Okay, I didn't want to cut you off, but she's gonna say something else to him too.
I love it. Let me just grab this before you continue, so I have it. We're in number 7. Okay, yeah. Let me go to my notes. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think he doesn't know, and he seems frustrated. He says, I've never seen such a place. It was a city. Fort Nyanzaru, no, there's no water.
Can I recollect? Can I try to remember any can I fathom any important detail?
Make a roll, and then I'm gonna have Alexander. You had something to say.
Yeah, he sounds like he's blundering trying to figure out where it was, and she's not having it. If you don't know where it was, make Savros know. He knows.
What am I rolling?
I have to know. Make him tell me.
He says, I can ask him. I'll ask him for you. And he says it is simple. It's a simple request. And he says, let me just come here. And he comes up to the table, and he's like, okay, all right. And he goes to cast the spell. As he casts it, you see his eyes white over, and he whites over for a moment, and he's probably only 60 or so seconds. What are you guys doing during this?
I'm trying to remember what
things you recall.
Yeah.
What exactly do you want to recall of this place?
Any the city, because he's trying to bring up
18. It's vast, but the thing you can note is this city is sunk into the ground. There are cliffs surrounding it on all sides. That's what you can get from that.
Would I know of anything like that?
You know, teacher might.
Oh, I say. Okay. I will say that city is old. Might be old, very old.
You know nothing of it, but you know the only person you think who would is teacher.
Yeah, the only person who would. Teach.
Who is that?
The leader of my. She is wise.
Alexandria, you seemed to know of this.
Something. She's strangling. On the verge of strangling the priest.
Yeah, she is. Asteria.
She is like 20 seconds away from just grabbing his robes and shaking him.
Okay.
She's trying to calm down so she doesn't.
Yeah, you all saw this. You saw this divine power come from Asteria. For sure. Has Asteria been open about her heritage?
No, not so far.
Not so far. So this is new to all of you. Asteria just had some fucking super divine power happen and stuff happen, and you never knew her to be a cleric.
I feel like that's probably going to be a question for later.
That might be a question for later. Yeah, it's kind of like a holy shit. What's this going on in the moment? So Ward, were you doing anything in specific?
I was trying to ask Alexandra a thing, but
Oh, what were you gonna ask?
Kyle.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Sorry.
sitting down.
Like I asked you a thing
You're
earlier.
asking me a question.
No, I asked you a question before.
Oh, I missed it.
Okay.
What was it?
Yeah. You seem to know about this.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Riak when you were saying that.
No.
Like you
I
were
was saying, Alexandra,
talking.
you seem to know about this.
Yeah, she's not going to answer. She's like just staring at the priest. She, like myself, did not hear your question.
Yeah. He comes out of it and he's just like, he says, no answer. And he says, he will not answer. He will not answer you. Leave my temple. I want nothing to do with this death curse. You're evil. You are disturbing Savros. And he says, no answer. Leave. Please. I want nothing to do with this. You are cursed.
She's often very quiet, but you can just see by how strained her hands are. She looks like she wants to claw him.
Yeah.
But
he seems just scared by the whole situation. Savros refused to answer his question. He is just he can't deal with it. He's panicking. This is more than this man. This man tells people what their kids should be named day by day, and if they should be married. This shit's way beyond
Above his pay grade.
Above his pay grade. He's just like, leave. I have nothing for you.
the lawyer's just like grabbing the roots of her hair, like almost pulling them out, and she just throws her hands down in exasperation and lets out just a roar of frustration. And I imagine this is such a big, opulent, church-like building that echoes. And she just strides out of the temple.
Yeah, priests arrive at that, a few priests, and they go, Grandfather, what's wrong? Escort them out. Escort them out. I want nothing to do with them. I need to go to my private chambers. And he leaves, and they're just like, please, we don't want any trouble.
I'm sorry for the trouble.
He says, please, if you could quickly vacate the building, it would be most appreciated.
Mm-hmm. War starts walking out then.
I quickly walk up to War and be like, we need to inform Samuel. If there is anyone we can talk to at the moment who might even know even something, it is him.
Giving him this information does sound wise.
Yeah, you could. I think that would be I mean, you guys are close. You're close to where Samuel stays. Maybe you guys think that's the next destination of the party? Because we're closing on this. I think that's the scene we close on.
Yeah.
All right, you guys will go towards Samuel and talk to him. And you locked in EQ yesterday, but unfortunately Savros thought it best that you see something else, something entirely different, and was unable to give you a keen on whether or not your choice was. There were more pressing matters apparently on his agenda.
Yeah.
So we
Savros dead.
He was about to be.
He was about to be, and you saw him get saved by these ghostly creatures that had white pillars in contrast to the black. And as they came out, you saw these spirits, these animal spirits, attack this horrible undead thing that was coming at you, and draw him back. But you did see him destroy one of them. So
We were saved by the 9 divine personas.
The holy divine.
You're getting somewhere. You're getting somewhere. That's pretty good.
He's just like,
Maybe.
he's getting
And
angry.
for drama's
He's
sake,
angry.
as we're walking out, I decided Asteria is lighting every single candle, like prestidigitation style.
Oh, that's so cool. That's such a cool fucking end to the scene because we get that last shot down the hallway of the party exiting and we see all those candles light up and we just pause and go to dark. And as we go to dark, we see those two white eyes light up on the screen. And you see this. And it's that echoed laugh
That's pretty hot.
that ends it. And yeah, and that's a fucking good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.